Welcome back to Third Hand Motors. This feels like as good of a time as any to make this intro. So this is a 2007 Saturn Vue that I just bought for count them, $200. As many $100 as there are headlights on this vehicle. Now, the reason that everything is pulled apart is because I just discovered while I was messing with this vehicle that the cruise control wasn't working. I researched it a bit and discovered that the brake light switch, or the brake light's not working, like a bulb being out, could cause that. But when I set up the little box there and filmed myself pressing the brake pedal, well, there were no brake lights at all. And that led me to discover up under here, this. Now I'm gonna press the brake pedal here, and you see that little plunger coming out? When I was pressing it before, it was not coming out at all. What a what an introduction to the 2007 Saturn Vue Hybrid. Now this thing is objectively the nicest car I've ever owned, I think. It has leather, it has power seats, it has heated seats, although the button fell in apparently, and they don't work, but it does have them. I've already rigged up like a weird Bluetooth situation. It's only got 138,000 miles. So why was it so cheap? It was cheap because of this. That little guy right there is an exhaust variable valve timing actuator, and that was bad, throwing a check engine light and causing them to diagnose it, them being the purchasing department at my dealership that I work at, with a bad engine, or a major engine defect as I like to call it. Here's the old one right here, and as you can see, it's right on top of the engine, so it's not hard to get to at all. It took me about 7 or 8 minutes to do. I actually did it before I bought the car, which was a bit risky, but it paid off. The second reason that it appraised for so cheap is because it was making a loud engine noise per the appraiser. Well, it was, but it wasn't the engine, it was this, the radiator fan. I say was, but it still is. Still very much is, actually, the radiator fan. It's one of those things, when it's on low, it's a little loud. But when it's on high, it sounds like a jet plane. Like, it literally sounds like there's a moped under here, in addition to this engine. But yes, it's fine. It still works, and it's never overheated, and I mean, I can't complain for $200. But the reason it's so torn apart right now is because I was checking fuses because I noticed the brake lights weren't working. But other than that, I've already put roughly 100 miles on this thing, and it's been fine. It's honestly really good. My biggest complaint, these tires. Oh my God, these things are the loudest tires I've ever heard. It sounds like a lifted Jeep Wrangler in there, but it rides pretty good. You can also tell just from looking at the headlights, that one's nice and shiny. And this one I just buffed and it already looks terrible again. So yeah, this was in an accident on that side. Also, this coolant reservoir leaks a little bit. This was actually the first time that I walked up to the car after buying it right here. Uh-oh. 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 But thankfully, it's pretty obvious where it's coming from because it's on this extreme far end of the engine bay. I thought it might have been the washer fluid, but when I went to crank it the next day, it had a low coolant light, so that settles that. So yes, it has its share of issues, but as you can see, it's a hybrid. Amazing. It's actually in shockingly good shape. I mean, this is the worst part on the body right here, this just like crack. And of course there's a few little scuffs and things like that and that, but it's in great shape, ignoring that. But it is really, really good. Pretty clean in here. I barely even had to vacuum it. No rips or tears in most of the seats. The driver's seat is a little bit worse for wear, as you can see under my giant toolbox. There you go. Just a little bit of rips and tears, but nothing crazy. Even the windshield's good. This is like a steal. It's also got a couple other little minor issues, like this is the ignition key, but this is the door key. And yes, I know it looks like a house key, but it does actually work for the doors. And the key fob that it came with does not work. I don't know if it's just a bad fob or it's like really bad, but Yes, either way, the key fob does not work. Also, this switch doesn't, if there's a switch in here, it doesn't unlock and lock all the other doors. I don't know if that's normal for these. Oh, and one more thing, this intermediate steering shaft right here, I believe is loose somewhere. I'm not sure where. Let's look at that joint. Yeah, sure. I don't really know what I'm looking for, but that is what the mechanic that inspected this vehicle said. So I'm going to take his word for it. There is a bit of a clunk in the steering wheel, as you can hear, but it's only at low speeds and it doesn't really feel like suspension, so we're probably gonna start there. So to be 100% honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this thing. I'm supposed to flip it. I honestly don't know, but we're gonna fix it regardless, so let's get to it. What will be our first repair, I wonder? Ooh. Okay, so rather rapidly I have completed 2 repairs. Number 1, I sprayed some WD-40 up in that brake light switch just to make sure it stays coming in and out, the plunger rather. Number 2, I went ahead and dug around for the, where'd it go? There we go. The heated seat switch. As you can see, it was pressed like this. So I think what happened, the heated seat fuse was pulled up under here. And I think somebody didn't feel like doing this, which literally took me 2 minutes. But they didn't feel like digging this out, so they just pulled the fuse so this wouldn't run all the time, which makes sense, I guess. So as you can see, we got our heated switch. What? All right, so as you can see, we got our heated seat switch back in for the passenger side, and it lights up, which is nice. Now this seat is definitely working. The driver's seat, however, I don't think is working, even though they both light up. I think it's just been used too much, so that's unfortunate. Probably not gonna be able to fix that for cheap, so whatever. But here is the brake light switch, and as you can see, it is not coming out. It's supposed to be like a good ½ inch that it comes out, so we are also going to have to replace this. I just tried driving on the highway with it just to see if the cruise control would work, because this is a common failure. Like if this fails, your cruise control won't work, and sure enough, it still didn't work even after kind of lubricating it and getting it to work before. Now it's stuck again, so we just got to replace it. So this is how much it's supposed to come out, and I just figured out exactly what happened to this. If we open it up, you can begin to see why. So if we look down in the switch at the contact on the right here, if you take a look, you see that burn mark in the plastic? That means at some point the plastic stuck onto that contact and just kind of welded itself there, and that's why it wasn't really moving before. I think as a temporary measure, I can take that burn mark and just kind of rotate it this way. Well, yeah, maybe, yeah, because it's not touching anything. So as a temporary measure, while I wait for a new brake light switch, I think that'll work. The reason I'm rotating it 180 degrees is because this little keyway will look the same. So it won't interface with the brake light pedal or the brake pedal any differently, but internally it won't have the chance for this little burn mark to weld itself back to that contact there, if you see what I mean. So I think just doing that will be enough to get me through the next couple of days so I can still drive this thing. All right, cruise control works. My foot is off the gas and we are holding speed. And if I press the accelerate button, we accelerate. Yay, that was easy. All right, so for some perspective, I got this car with 138,185 miles. As you can see, I've put a little over 500 miles on it, and honestly, it's been great. But in driving it for so much, I have noticed a couple little things, namely this dome light does not work, and I've noticed the cabin air filter is a little musty, which kind of makes sense because this car, whenever it comes to auto start stop, it turns the engine off and it leaves the blower motor running, but it turns the AC off, which can make stuff like can make mildew build up. So let's go ahead and change the cabin air filter and also take a look at these dome lights. And actually, I think I already know what the problem is, because if we pull this out, you can see cut wires. Okay, so I've got our dome light wired up precariously. This little harness was broken. The harness I was looking at earlier was actually the harness for, where is it? The OnStar mic, wherever that is. There it is. Anyway, somebody's been up there, or there's been a mouse up there at some point. I don't know. This car has low enough miles. It might have sat for a long time, for all we know. We're gonna see if this comes back to life. The fuse was blown because I accidentally touched two of the live wires together. Oops. So we're gonna plug this in and see if it blows immediately. Hopefully not. Okay, it didn't blow immediately. Do we have this light back? No. I think it blew again. Very good. Upon further review, it was determined that you need the key in the ignition for the lights to come on. Did not know that. But yes, now they're working. The bulbs seem good, so let's make this a lot more pretty, and that'll be fixed. New. Old. I was breathing that. Let's put this one in. So I was experiencing a slight issue with the Saturn Vue green line. The other day I was driving it, and while it was in auto start stop mode, it used the starter motor to start itself back up, and then for the rest of the trip, which is about 15 minutes, it did not charge or assist the battery. And I looked it up, and it's probably, most likely, the battery was overheating a little bit. So I decided to take a look at the hybrid battery. And there it is in all of its glory. It is tiny. And I went ahead and took out the fan from its little enclosure here, and you can see it is literally just a computer fan, pretty much. That is literally the only thing cooling this entire hybrid battery. Now, granted, it's not big, but I mean, it probably needs a little bit more than that. I've read that the hybrid batteries in these things are very sensitive to hot and cold, so that would kind of make sense. Also, what were they doing in this vehicle? Look at all that junk. I really hope that isn't like from mice or something.
3 days later.
Oops. Is it too late to go back to Team Toyota? Okay, so as you can see, I have added a fair amount of miles to this car. Actually about 800 since that last clip when the check engine light came on. It's only on right now because the car is off, but it has actually been off for a while. But it did come back on one more time. And here are the codes that came on. Now, one of my good buddies is a technician and has been for a long time. We rode around with our big old scan tool, and basically we came to the conclusion that most likely the radiator fan up front is drawing a ton of amps and is drawing so many amps that it's actually affecting the hybrid system. So I think that that is the case, and the reason I think that, well, something to reinforce that is I was at a stoplight for a long time. The engine was on the entire time because I guess the engine wasn't hot enough or whatever, and the fans were going the entire time, and then they went on high, and it was a long stoplight, 3-4 minutes, and towards the end of it, the engine light just popped on, and I think it was, again, just that radiator fan being on for so long on high. It's drawing a crap ton of amps, and that is affecting the hybrid system computer or something of that nature, and is throwing that code. I did take a roughly 250-300 mile trip in this car, and it did great. It actually didn't even have a check engine light the whole time. It did disable the hybrid system, so I think a check engine light was pending. But anyway, since it came on that second time, I cleared it. This has been about 2 weeks or so, and it just hasn't come back on yet at all. It's been pretty cold out, at least for, you know, summer. It's only 70 degrees, so I haven't really had to use the AC a ton, and so I think that's helping the check engine light come off. So I need to order a radiator fan for this. Now, the radiator fan for this vehicle is $400 from GM, which is not happening at all. So I'm going to go aftermarket with a Saturn Vue 2.2 liter fan. The motor and the connector appears to be the same. I'm just going to try to Frankenstein my way into a functional fan. We're going to see how that goes. But right now, I'm actually dealing with another issue. If we look up in the sunroof here, we can see that issue. Now, when I bought this car, I already knew it had a sunroof leak. This white stuff, that is just water that's kind of condensated on there. I thought the sunroof was clogged, or the drains were clogged, but it's it's a little worse than that. So this tube right here is our sunroof drain that runs from the sunroof enclosure down to through the firewall and out by the wheel. But there's a problem. If we look up above the headliner, which this is mold, by the way, yay, I've already sprayed it, but anyway, if we look up here, we can see that it's plugged in. But if you tap it even just a little bit, it wants to come out. And the thing is it's kinked in such a way that it has to be shoved out of the way a little bit, and that just makes it pull out like instantly. So I've had to rig up a bit of a solution, and that solution is this. So I put a little vacuum hose fitting, like a generic little vacuum hose coupler in here, and then cut off just a little bit of heater hose right here and attach that to the existing hose, and that way I didn't have to cut this. And if we take a look, now it works. Now before when I did the leak test and just poured some water up in the sunroof drain, the water was coming out here, right there. But now let's see where it comes out. And you can see it's coming out by the wheel like it should. Perfect. So yeah, I call that fixed. Well, this sucks. So I just pulled up the carpet to see how wet it was around here, and it was wet, soaking wet actually. This has been drying for days. And I decided to look in the back, and well, water is pooled up in the back on both sides, but especially on this side, of course. So this is turning into possibly a full interior out type of deal. Yay. Alrighty, it's a few days later, and as you can see, it's all buttoned back up. I ended up having to take the carpet out all the way to the back side, back on the driver's side. I think when I was testing the sunroof, I poured so much water down and it was on an incline that it just kind of went all the way back there. But regardless, I rented one of those blower thingies from Home Depot, this thing on the screen, and that did it within 24 hours. So that was like about 33 bucks. And now it's good. Now it's dry. So it's all back together. And thankfully we've had torrential rain in the last few weeks. So just in time. So I think that's just about gonna do it for part one of this vehicle. Maybe the only part, who knows. Let's go ahead and go over the cost that we have in this car so far. Well, the first thing obviously is the purchase of the car. That was of course only $200 from my job. However, my job tacks on a $300 fee, and also of course tag, title, all that sort of stuff. Brought that out to $589 out the door. That's what I swiped my card for this vehicle. After that, we had the inspection to get this car sellable, essentially, safety inspection, and that solenoid, that came out to $104. And then after that, we bought this jug of coolant, which, okay, this is the weirdest thing ever. The first day that I bought this thing, y'all saw the clip earlier, it leaked a ton of coolant out, and it has never done it since. I have opened this one time. I filled it back up and it's been fine. I don't understand. I literally have no idea. But anyway, 15 for the coolant and 30 bucks for the brake light switch to fix the cruise control and also give me, you know, brake lights. After that, we spent $32 on the touch-up paint, which I actually haven't even applied yet, so you really can't count that. But 32 bucks on that, and the cabin air filter, I think, which was like 10 bucks of that. 40 for oil and filter, 10 for an oil filter socket because it's the special GM one that you have to use, and then 5 bucks for that little knee pad right there, which I guess isn't really even part of the car, but I figured I'd include it anyway. 20 bucks for the tubing and all the adapters to fix the sunroof. 34 for the rental for the blower to fix to dry out the carpets. And I haven't even included this yet, 15 bucks for these things back here. While I was at the junkyard getting parts for another car, I found this full set. Granted, it's got a little scuff or a little chip right there, but this full set of rain guards off another Saturn Vue, as well as this little chrome strip right here, which if you look on the hood of this one, you can see is in a little bit not so great condition. It's just chipped off right there. So yeah, 15 bucks for that, and some adhesive to put that on. So that brings the total out to $895 for this fine vehicle. And so my question to you, Third Hand Motors viewers, is, should I keep this thing? I've put about 1,800 miles on this car so far. I've had it just over 2 months, and I can honestly say it's the most comfortable car I've ever had in my life. Also, frankly, I mean, the nicest. Leather, sunroof, all that sort of stuff. And honestly, it's really relieving to have a daily driver that you actually enjoy. My daily driver before this was a Corolla, which I loved it, but we had it for 6 years. I didn't really feel any attachment to it anymore. And then before that was a 2011 Honda Pilot, which I liked, but killed me on gas, and it was just too big for my needs, really. So yeah, should I keep this thing? Let me tell you what's wrong with it still first, before you make up your mind. So things that are still wrong. The steering shaft is still not good. It's very loose, you can say. It's about 50 bucks to fix, probably. The radiator fan, which is the bane of this vehicle's existence. This headlight is driving me insane because that one's new, that one's not. I think this car hit a deer at some point. It was actually rebuilt in 2023, not rebuilt title, but rather insurance fixed it in 2023, which is crazy that they would do that for this oddball vehicle, but hey, whatever. The tires are legitimately louder than my friend's Wrangler, and it's got some cosmetic things. So the question is, should I keep this thing? I actually kind of have to for a little bit because that Corolla is already gone to a friend of ours. So yes, should I keep this thing long term is my real question. I'm getting anywhere from 24 to 27 mpg in this thing, which for what it is actually pretty good. And really the average of our fleet, including the Prius and the Integra, we're averaging like 32, 33 together for all three cars. So that's not bad considering one of them is an SUV, you know? So I don't know, what would you do? What would you do if you were $895 into this weird vehicle? My only hang up about it is, of course, A, it's a GM, it's not gonna be as reliable as a Toyota, and B, it's an oddball. I need to find parts. I think I would feel a lot better if I just had a stockpile of, you know, generators for this thing, or like some weird, you know, one-off parts, modules, that sort of thing. I think I would feel a lot better, and that is possible to get because these share the drivetrain with the Chevy Malibu Hybrid, which was a lot more common. Oh, and one last thing, I did, in that 15 bucks for all of that stuff, I did get another center cap as well because we were missing one. So yes, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. I really, really enjoy this car. I think I want to keep it, I'm pretty sure, because there's just nothing like it. And really, I think that I'm in one of the very, very few demographics that should own such a, that was my knee, that should own such a weird one-off oddball car. Like, I think I'm gonna be one of the few people that is gonna know what to do when it breaks and know what parts to, you know, get while you still can in the junkyard and all that sort of thing. But I don't know, what do you think? What would you do? Let me know, and I will catch y'all in the next one.